ibe wulde mmadụ emeke ya amụna ya kpechara ya mkpewuo ya enweghị na strọgụ ka ikpewe onye ka gị. Go and dig around your, no, if you dig around your life you will see why 2021 is ending like 2020. Because you carried all your bad behaviors from 2020, but at 2021, yes Lord, yes Lord, yes Lord. Can the Lord make
I thought of Biafra freedom taking longer, and cause of that you tend to feel so low. I know our freedom is your greatest hunger. I thought of Biafra keeps your heart aglow. We will walk the line, this hell that we've known with time, gotta take it away. Just hold on and don't let go. Hold on, do not let go. Just hold on and don't let go. Your flight's just a step away. Just hold on. Oh, hold on, do not let go. Just hold on and don't let go. Your flight's just a step away. Our history has never known no laughter. It's always been this red and black, no green. A nation of this blessed yet hungry people. We shine a brighter light, the world will see. We will touch the skies and set up a throne on high and reign with our God. Just hold on and don't let go. Hold on, do not let go. Just hold on and don't let go. Your flight's just a step away. Just hold on. Oh, hold on. Do not let go. Just hold on and don't let go. Your flight's just a step away. Tell me now, can't you see and don't you know? Your flight's just a step away. Let you know this a point of no return. Your flight's just a step away. The voice on radio is calling out to you, my brother. Your flight's just a step away. Say get up, stand up, and don't give up the fight. Hold on. Just hold on. Your flight's just a step away. One family, we really are a step away. Do not let go, never give up the fight. Standing on the truth always, one step away. And don't let go.
Baba Singh. It's a tribute.
I would rather live for a day than 1,000 years a slave. So many have died, so many have gone astray. my sister follow this way. The life we live in Africa is acting the way. We gotta overcome this way. We break that chains for survival. The pain is much, we need a revival. Come on now, it's time. Freedom, not a crime. Come on, let's take back our homeland. I am here to say, wherever you are, look me in the eyes. Can you listen to me? I am here to say, wherever you are, look me in the eyes. See that Biafra is here. See that Biafra is here. I've been looking for the day that I'll no more be afraid. My fragile heart will always give me brave. No need to live without my home, my pride. I want to save me from the freaky mess. The life we live in Africa, I can't endure. But at night when it's dark, I cry. We break our chains for survival. The pain is much, we need a revival. Come on now, it's time. Freedom, not a crime. Come on, let's take back our homeland. I am here to say, wherever you are, look me in the eyes. Can you listen to me? I am here to say, wherever you are, look me in the eyes. See that Biafra is here. See that Biafra is here. I know you can't see me. If you can't, at least feel me now. So come now, let us stay down and go back to our home. I am here to say, wherever you are, look me in the eyes.
Morning,
Can
good
you
afternoon, good
listen?
evening, and good night, great Biafrans and lovers of freedom. This is Radio Biafra House Service coming to you through the auspices of Radio Biafra London. My name remains Mazi Jonathan Chinedu. Today we are on our special program, Tough Talk. This is a program we ask questions without being politically correct. This is a program where we question our interviewee, our guest, with serious alacrity. Therefore, today, my host here on this Tough Talk program is the deputy head of the Directorate of States of the indigenous people of Biafra, Mazi Nzurumike. Many of us might not be hearing his voice. Today we drew him out from the shell so that he will speak to Biafrans and lovers of freedom worldwide. Mazi Nzurumike, you are welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mazi, Jonathan. I don't know if I'm coming out clear.
You are coming out crystal clear, please.
That is wonderful. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you very much. Without making any preamble or more preambles about it, we must go on direct, because there is no need of wasting any time. Anything we are going to talk here, or anything I should be speaking, or I want to speak, it will be found in the body of the questions, please. Therefore, once again, I welcome each and every one of you to today's Tough Talk program. Today is the 11th day of February in the year of our Lord 2022. Mazi, please let us start. For you to introduce yourself, please. Who is Mazi? Tony Nzurumike, please introduce yourself as fully as you could to the audience. All this involves including your current country of residence and your profession. Please go on, Mazi.
Well, Mazi, thank you so much, and let me thank Chukwuemeka. I need to do that. As a scholar of Mazi, Mazi Namdekano, and as a follower and as a fellow Biafran, we have learned to respect Chukwuemeka at all times, no matter where we find ourselves, and therefore, whatever we're doing, anything we're doing, and when and wherever we're doing it, we put God first. And that is why I must use the opportunity to thank Chukwuemeka upon the life of our leader, Mazi Namdekano, that it will be well with him, that at all times that he will feel better and feel good, well, in moral, that at the end of the day, that Mazi Namdekano will be released unconditionally because he committed no crime. We believe that Chukwuemeka is faithful. We believe that he is in charge, that at the end of the day, that we shall be smiling and we shall be victorious. Definitely, my also thank to Chukwuemeka upon the head of every hard-working Biafran, hard-working faithful servant, especially those who have left us, those who have paid the ultimate price. We hand them over to the hands of Chukwuemeka to take care of them and be their caretaker at all times, even in the realms where we cannot reach in our own mortal body. We ask him to take care of them and also take care of the living. I also thank him for your program, Mazi. By the way, you're doing a very wonderful work, and I will encourage you to keep on keeping on. And thank you so much at this point. My name is Mazi Chukwuemeka Nzurumike. Mazi, you call me Ugo Chukwudo. Is a given name. Ugo Chukwu is what you wanted to say. I am Mazi Chukwuemeka Nzurumike. The Tony is a borrowed name from the white man. I do not normally subscribe to it all the time, since after knowing the true gospel on this very platform. Definitely, I live in Germany and I am a molecular biologist. I don't know what else is your question, Mazi. I don't know if I have answered it all.
Yes, you have. A molecular biologist.
Yes, Mazi.
Yes. Had it been it is in the zoo, maybe you will be in a Dumota. Na man jakre. Na remote pass, na engine pass. Behold the molecular biologist. That is
it is unbelievable.
Unbelievable, honestly. So we must move on, please. Now, please, I want you to inform all our audience, when did you join IPOB? That's number one. Why did you join IPOB and how did you join IPOB? Please go on.
Mazi, IPOB sounds like some of the letters put together, but that's not what it is. IPOB, as it is stated, is much more of a spiritual nomenclature, if you will. It is a nomenclature delivered from heaven into the hands of our leader Mazi Namdekano. Those who cannot understand how, sometimes we don't know how each other, find our way into this very struggle. But when you begin to listen to some individuals and how they came to the struggle, you really know that indeed everything is based on spiritual connectivity. I saw Mazi Namdekano at a point when something was ringing in my head, Biafra, and I was like, what is this? And I kept on going to the internet. I was seeing nothing Biafra. That was 2007. I was seeing nothing Biafra. You can do whatever you want to do. Yes, Mazi, you can do whatever you want to do, and you will not find anything Biafra. That is something people must really give accreditation to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We must be very grateful to this man. That at that point, you hear people who say they were able to found Biafra, they started the movement, and they somehow they piloted the movement from some time earlier than that. But why was it that if you went as at that time to look for Biafra online, you find nothing, zero? I said zero. If you see anything Biafra, it is red underlined. The zoo completely obliterated the word Biafra from the word scene, completely. That is how we must understand that Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was sent from heaven. I went on trying and I persisted. I don't know what was disturbing me. I knew something was going on. I don't know what it was. But the question is, why did I bump into on a website belonging to Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? No other person but Mazi. I didn't know who he was. I didn't know who he was. I only landed on his website. There was no Radio Biafra then. He had this website. He delivered messages in Igbo. He did in English. I got there and that was when I got pleased. I got my peace of mind. And I began to follow him on and on and on and on until Radio Biafra was launched somewhere late 2011, 2012, beginning of 2012. And then I kept on following until he announced one day that he needed about 10 coordinators in every country worldwide. That time you had to apply. So if you were pleased, if you were passionate about what he was talking about, you went on to apply. That's what happened. And he replied and said, Mazi, go ahead. And then those of us who gathered in that same country, wherever we were, or whichever country in question, gathered themselves and began to manage their affairs and build up the structure right there, and began to go and following and listening to Radio Biafra at all times. And because that is where we got our whole, the whole knowledge, any knowledge you can think of, at any degree. We had it from Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So that is how I began to follow our leader. That's how I discovered him, and that is how I become his follower. And then I also realized who I am, because some of us, we count ourselves, whichever clan you can think of in Biafra land, and also as a Biafran. But then, what does Biafra mean to you? That's the question. When people say they are Biafrans, the question is, what does it mean to you? Or what is the makeup of Biafra? What is actually, those, genetical codes, if you will,
Mazi,
that can put together.
Do not preempt, I will come to that. You understand?
Fine, go ahead, man.
I am the questioner. Do not run faster than your shadow. We will come to that. Now, there's something I jumped, which I want you to clarify.
Yes.
In a layman's understanding, or the way a layman, people listening to your voice in our communities could understand.
Yes.
You are a professional molecular biologist.
Yes.
Please, can you explain what is molecular biology and what it can contribute in the building of a country or a nation, like when Biafra is restored? I jumped that question, but I have to come back to it. Please go on, explain that, please.
Yes, Mazi, in a nutshell, like you really asked, is a matter of a study of, you have biochemistry put together with physics, of course, certain aspects of physics. Most importantly, what we call bioinformatics. That's very important. We couple bioinformatics together with the knowledge of biochemistry, very simple, and certain parts of physics. This knowledge packed together, of course, basically when I say biochemistry, I'm also talking about a module called molecular biology on its own, and that also entails a major part of human genetics and molecular genetics. By the way, you have to also differentiate when you say genetics. What kind of genetics are you talking about? So molecular genetics is key. Human genetics is also key, and then a whole package of that. And then by the time you qualify as a molecular biologist, you must have gone series of modules that will cover, major medical courses, whether it is anatomy, whether it is molecular physiology, whether it is toxicology, and so on and so forth, including very, very importantly, immunology. Now you talk about nation building. This is a basic institute on its own. It can contribute enormously to the building of a nation, especially in the health section or sector or medical sector. So if you talk about healthcare sector in a society, you want people to feel and live a better life. When they are sick, you need diagnosis. So the area of molecular biology, what they do is they contribute in diagnostics. So in major part of that is identifying the causative sources of sicknesses and the diagnosis of sicknesses, especially when it is very, very complex. So, specimens are sent to them, and their job is to go through that, and also into research. You do research, and whether it is cancer research, whether it is research of any other elements, they are all compounded in that. So, definitely it's very, very important in our health sector. In case Biafra comes, that is where we can make a very, very, very deep contribution in building our health sector. Thank you, Mazi.
So, in summary, something like all these diseases, either viral or any type of disease, like this Ebola and coronavirus,
yes.
Your profession is highly important in order to find solution curb that
is correct,
and find solution to it. Is that what you're saying?
That is correct, and exactly, Mazi, that is what it is. There have been series of research following COVID-19 because when you say corona happens to be a very big family. It's a family of certain numbers of different types of viruses, but then if you pull out COVID-19, something that appeared to be new, people happen to be working hard and trying to figure out the whole genetic makeup of that, and therefore finding a solution, because you need to really find out decode it. You need to go into the genetics of that very virus itself. If you don't do that, there's no way you can find a solution. So that's what we do that as well. In so many different field of studies like biotechnology. Similarly, that is also being done very, very, very well.
Do you think yes? Do you think that because many Biafrans or many our audience listening, I know are interested. If I can also probe or dig in a bit more, do you think that in the current Nigerian system, a laboratory could be set up that could work for this molecular biology? Do you think there is any current working laboratory in Nigeria? Going to the system of electricity. Please go on.
Yes, well, the basic needs for functionality of such institution, electricity you mentioned is the source of energy that will be used in carrying out all the necessary scientific proceedings in such an institution. Of course, very, very important. And without that, of course, nothing can happen, no matter what anybody thinks. Secondly, is this not only nepotism, but the idea that everybody in the chain of the industries and works are all corrupt. When the so-called federal government takes out some money and say this is a budget for this very section, and you expect something is going to be done for that, because that money is mapped out for it. If it is earmarked from the parliament and meant for a particular, very, very Herculean project, a very robust project, you find out at the end of the day nothing will be done. Nothing will be done because you see some people boasting of having made some money, and they ask them, where is the money coming from? It's coming from the earmarked money. It's coming from the money made for that very project. And therefore, nothing can happen, nothing can work in that very Nigeria. That we must all agree. It will not work, because even the matter how much they've made so far from oil and gas, they still go a borrowing on the head of everybody, the head of me and you, the head of generations to come. They keep on borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and you ask yourself, where is the money going to? Where is the money going to? It goes into their pockets. They dice and slice all the monies and share it among themselves and bank it overseas. I mean, white man is doing fine. You send your money to them, and you think you are deceiving your own people. At the end of the day, yes, your people are suffering, and what is happening? The white man is enjoying your money. Abacha is a case study.
The war, we must move on. These are brethren from our motherland. What we are suffering, scattered all over the world, helping to develop every part of the world where we find ourselves. That is why we are doing what we are doing. Mazi, let us move on. Now the question now comes: what does Biafra and this struggle mean to you? Please.
Mazi, Biafra and this very struggle, when you say this struggle, we are talking about the indigenous people of Biafra put together by Onyindumas and Namdekan. That's the struggle we talk of. Some other people may claim to be in a struggle, and the question is, what are their modus operandi? How did they operate? Did they operate to, to go for brown envelope and then keep shouting Biafra, Biafra? And then the next time you see them, they are being escorted by the zoo police and all that. No, that is not a struggle. That is bamboozling of the public, and also a complete deception in its of its kind. So when you say struggle, struggles, what struggle? What struggle? Nnamdi Kanu has been tested, he has been vetted, and he's vindicated and keep on being vindicated. So at the end of the day, I only know the indigenous people of Biafra under Onyindumas and Nnamdi Kanu. No other fake struggle will I even ever think of than this very struggle. So it means a lot to me, Mazi. And Biafra is not only our heritage, Biafra is our own DNA. Biafra is what we are made up of. Biafra is our future. Biafra is our representation. Biafra is that platform delivered to us by Chukwuemeka, the holiest land on the whole planet. But people don't know is the holiest unless you do your research and find out that very place the enemies are trying to destroy. They are trying to make unholy once again. We will continue to defend it because we are obliged to do so. Because we have no other place and we cannot vacate our land. Our land we cannot vacate. And therefore, no retreat and no surrender. Thank you, Mazi.
Thank you. When did you become the deputy head of Directorate of States? When do you become?
Yes, Mazi, indeed, like I said in my explanation on how I came about our leader, when I started as a zone coordinator, single-handedly actually established a zone called Düsseldorf, with the support of, I think there was a guy that helped me initially, one of our brothers, Judah, I will always not forget his very initial effort in campaigning, in helping me to go out and dish out the flyers and all that. When things came out that newly, not everybody believed it. So you will be very, very appreciative of anybody, no matter who the person is. You would be appreciative of that person coming out at the midst of caricature, people laughing at you and saying, "Look at him, he's talking about Biafra." So, and those of them laughing at us then, today, many of them are hardcore to tell you the gospel truth. But as a then, when we came out trying to roll out these things, people were like, "Look at him, he's looking for Biafra and all that." You go to football field to share flyers. You go to where people are gathered, places you have not been before, restaurants you have not been before, where our people are gathered, where you are told, go there, you're going to find them. I had to go there to look for them. And I did it, and I'm very grateful to those of them who came out later after getting the awareness, the message of awareness, and joining the struggle. I moved to Essen, our brother in Wuppertal, then it helped me also. We went to Essen, shared flyers, and at a point, went to a place called Duisburg and tried to convince those who are there. Before you know it, the movement started. I mean, we started our family in Düsseldorf, and then at a point, Mazi called me one day, I think in early February, and say, "I want you to take over the mantle of leadership in Germany." I said, "Okay," as national coordinator. I said, and I said, "Well, what then happened to, we do have a national coordinator." He said, "You don't worry, I've come to a decision, and I've just called upon you now to think about it. I'll get back to you." I said, "Okay, I said, "Okay, I'll do that." And then he came back to me and said he was demanding for loyalty. He said, loyalty is the key, because that is what we're doing today. Without loyalty, discipline, obey before complain, and all that, command and control, this struggle will not be where we are today in terms of its longevity. So I began to understand what it means to be loyal to the leadership right from day one. So when I became the national coordinator, somewhere February 2013 was that, right? No, I think that was 2014, February 2014. Moving down to 2016, when our leader was still in the dungeon, because he was apprehended, he was seized somewhere in 2015. So 2016, this whole also saga started again, where people who were, power hungry, people who thought that there was a vacuum, and they would like to take over the mantle of leadership. They would like to hijack the leadership because the lion is no more there. That's what they thought. So he was in the hands of the enemies, and therefore they want to take over. So we're having just this. What we're having today, we've gone through them before. You have ups and downs, you have tsunamis, you have tranquility at some point, but we all must understand that this is a struggle, and that is why it's called a struggle. You are to expect things like that. You are to expect people who would like to destroy. You are to expect people who would like to hijack. You are to expect people who would like things done the other way around, not the way it has been done and be maintained. So, but what my message to them is, this is a holy struggle, and the modus operandi and everything about it was orchestrated by Chukwuemeka himself. Mazi never did anything on his own. He was a man, and he is a man who then communicated continuously with Chukwuemeka, and continues to today to communicate to Chukwuemeka. And therefore, whatever he does and whatever he did always was based on the communication with Chukwuemeka. He's a very prayerful man, very, very prayerful man. There's nothing he does without Chukwuemeka, first of all. And we saw it happening, and that's why whenever he echoes, it comes to pass. Whenever you can look at him that, okay, he's not wearing this, their big white cloth with big red cross, answering, big time prophet. No, but the man is a prophet, for your information. He is a prophet, and therefore, people wanted to hijack his position when he wasn't there. And the reason is because devil will always fight the good. Where there is light, darkness wants to penetrate, but light will always win. And that is when I became the deputy head of directorate. That was in 2016, and then therefore that was when these people now had to leave us because they were trying to destroy what we were doing. At a point they had to be put aside, and we moved on from there. In late 2016, I think, thereabout. So they gave us chance as they continued to fight us, and until they got tired with their radio or whatever it is that exists no more. You see, that shows you consistency is the key, and anything about God Almighty is consistency. And if you're doing anything you're doing without the spiritual aspect of it, the true gospel aspect of it, you will never get it done. And we are getting it done because what we are doing is being supported by Chukwuemeka. No matter what the shenanigans and no matter what the charlatans are doing, we will continue to roll. We will continue to roll as IPOB Mazi. Thank you very much, and I will expect the next question.
Yes, we continue. Let me ask you this question. How much are you being paid as the deputy head of directorates of indigenous people? How much are you being paid? Tell everybody.
Mazi, I have to laugh because this is really funny. We're talking about those of us, first of all, paid nothing, zero, before I continue to narrate, because that's the way it's supposed to be. First of all, zero. Now, having said that, we are the ones that are paying in order to encourage others.
You are putting your resources, is that what you mean? Mazi, are you still there? What is happening? Do I lose you? No.
Are you back? Are you back?
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Please. No, which means you are the person putting your resources. Is that what you mean?
Mazi, I've been putting my resources from day one. That is 10 years now. Yeah, not only do I pay my monthly dues, I paid all the necessary essential levies asked us to pay. When we were asked to pay for our transmission, there was a radio transmission equipment. Yeah, that transmission equipment, yes, that is transmitter, yes. We were supposed to pay for them. You can imagine as at that time, the unit I formed was still fresh, so you don't want to tax, everybody as such. I remember the first tax from every zone. I dished out my own money to pay for it. That was 100 and some euros then. We taxed ourselves as a then. That was the first, before any other levies. So I've been contributing, because you know what? Because it's not just about passion alone. Because you want your freedom. It is this idea that nobody can do it for me, but I do it for myself, right? We say, let me say, as John F. Kennedy would say, ask not what your country will do for you, but what you do for your country, right? Based on that alone, that feeling was there. You remember I told you I didn't know what was pushing me for Biafra 2007. I didn't know what it was. So the passion was there, the magnetism was very, very, very magnitude. And then going forward, anything that I could do for Biafra, I went on doing it. So I went on doing it and paying my dues, whatever I was asked to do, even sponsoring trips, even doing so many things out of my pocket, things that nobody can even think of. Whether it was places we were sent to go and, go on errand and meet some individuals. Some of them were international trips. I had to pay for my own comfort. So, and you don't go about telling people, you don't go about explaining things to anybody, you go about doing what you need to do for your country. And it's just laughable when some people want to come and blackmail or maybe somehow want to attack the leadership based on falsifications and garbages. It's very, very unfortunate. We all believe in the idea that if I have to ask a junior officer to pay his dues or any levy or whatever, that I will also set a good example, and that's what we believe in. So Mazi, that is it. We don't get paid. I don't get paid. At least myself and the members that I know. And therefore, that's just the case it is. We only contribute. We give our input, financially, energy, time, and everything you can think of. When I'm on my way to work, I am talking Biafra. During my break, I am talking Biafra. Even sometimes, in the middle of my job, I'm talking Biafra. Even though it's a job, you need a concentration, a full concentration and all that. My phone, I hardly put it off. My phone is always on. So messages come in, I know there's a signal. I will go back to it as soon as I'm done with a series or a particular procedure I have in my hand.
That is, this thing before you frame that brings me to the next question I want to ask, because it will make you clarify what you try to say right now. How, if you are not paid, yes, it is clear. How then do you cope with your normal daily work with these cumbersome daily demands of your portfolio as the deputy head of the directorate, please? How do you cope?
Mazi, like I said before, it is not by our power, but by the very, very loving kindness of Chukwuemeka. It is by his own power that we do what we do. Sometimes I used to wonder, our leader, I hosted our leader in Germany, in so many cities in Germany. I hosted him from München, from Stuttgart, Nuremberg, Frankfurt, and even Dortmund, Düsseldorf to be precise, also Hamburg. He was hosted in Hamburg, in Bremen. There's so many places, right? And we had opportunity to see our leader do what he normally does. We had opportunity to see him, and we were wondering, yes, he is a human being. He just finished a broadcast in the night. You wonder whether he sleeps, because he had to also do another broadcast 6 a.m. in the morning. 6 he had to start. So you find he is already awake somewhere 4 a.m. This is somebody who finished a broadcast that lasted till 12 midnight. Around 4 a.m. he's already up there preparing for the next broadcast. And you wonder how he does this thing. He hardly will even rest till the next broadcast in the next evening again. And I was wondering, I said, no wonder this guy is not a normal, he is a human being, yes, you see, but spiritually he is not just, the word is, he had a different measurement of grace. Right? The graces we all bear are all not the same. Our leader has a different measurement of grace, and that is so the only conclusion I made. Because any normal human being will have been broken down long ago. None of us could imagine how he did it. So the answer to it is that is by his grace that one is coping and putting the ends meet in the mass.
Could you explain to the audience, those listening to us around the world, the functions of the deputy head of the Directorate of States of the Indigenous People of Biafra? What are the functions, or some of the functions, as you might call it?
Yes, Mazi. Basically, the work, you have to excuse me for, I think I'm having a little cough. The work of the Deputy Head of Directorate of States, as stipulated by Mazi as a then, and continuously as well, is basically, if you remember, we used to have what we used to call coordinator of coordinators in those days. I don't know if you are aware.
Of course, Irania, yes.
So, what coordinator of coordinators was meant for is what the Deputy Head of Directorate of States is also meant to do in terms of functionality. And definitely under the leadership and the IPEX leadership, so that what is giving you to do is what you do. But then my office is in charge of coordination of all family IPOB family worldwide. So whenever there are some administrative restructuring need for coupling and reorganizing and all that, or issues pertaining the families, it is after the continental representative comes to my office. That is what the Deputy Head of Directorate of the State does. It's about coordinating in tandem and working with those continental representatives who also in turn work with the national coordinators, getting much closer to the grassroots, right? And then you have the national coordinators much more closer to the grassroots and therefore very knowledgeable of what is going on within their jurisdiction. And whenever there are issues emanating from those areas, we expect the continental reps to intervene, to look at it and bring it under the right scope. And when things are out of hand, they are expected to land on my table. And that is how the coordination is being done. Also, vetting of officers, principal servants worldwide, and recommendation for their appointments and all that also follow my table as well. Thank you very much, Mazi. That is what I can explain to that.
When you talk about the first point about one of the functions of your portfolio, we had our leader also put it vividly that you are the head, your office is the head of the Reconciliation Committee. Now, I want you to explain, please, because some people might be misunderstanding. These reconciliations, from who to who, or between who and who? Please, I want your explanation. Is it between IPOB and the Nigerian government, or with the saboteurs that fall before? Now we make peace. Peace. Or please, we need your vivid explanations about this heading Reconciliation Committee so that people will understand.
Yes, Mazi, as you know, IPOB is not monolithic as such, if you will. It is not. We are always evolving, and there will always be issues between members. It is nothing to do, got nothing to do with any external involvement. It's got only to do with IPOB family as a whole, within, call it internal, squabbles or, differences. So when there are some these internal differences, they are resolved, on the table of the the table of the CRC. So CRC deals with issues affecting IPOB families, IPOB family countries, IPOB family zones, wherever they're having some issues. If they are not resolved within their jurisdiction by those responsible for the jurisdictions, people have gotten the right to come up with matters they feel are not well resolved, and instead of them going out of the box, causing some problems or incendiary, they are asked to forward their complaints by way of petitioning or reports to the CRC for necessary and effective resolution. So that is what CRC does, and
that is the Reconciliation Committee.
Yeah, exactly. That is the Reconciliation Committee. This very able body, very highly body of efficacy, is constituted by a whole lot of very great men and women of different very wonderful professions, and individual businessmen and women. It is a place where you really would like to take your matters to, because the individuals that make up this committee are very clear-minded people, full of objectivity. They would like to look into things the way they are, not minding who you can be their brother, you can be their sister. At that moment, you are carved out. You are no more. You are not known. Nobody knows you. So that is where cases are brought for these individuals, great men and women, to look into this thing without any side taking or anything of that nature. They are there to do things objectively, and believe you me, cases that have been handled so far. When you go to court, you don't win all the time. If you are wrong, you are wrong. If you are right, you are right. There's no other way about it. No hanky-panky about it. Things are done the way they are done. We just calling a spade a spade. CRC has got a logo. They have got their own logo. The logo is called a spade a spade. Simple as that. They call a spade a spade. There's nothing like I know you don't know me, or I want to pity you, or you don't have to pity me, or okay, love me, oh, we are brothers. There's nothing like that. And this is happening within the family. So you have to see everybody as what? No difference. Everybody equal. The quality is key when you're looking at everybody as a family, and that's the only way you can come to the right resolution when people are having some squabbles or differences.
Before we go on just few minutes break, I will like to ask you this question, please. Very simple. I want you to rate your relationship with the head of the directorate and other members of the DOS. Is it cordial? Is it rocky? Is it hectic? Tiresome? Just any word you can use, please. What do you say?
I would rather say sometimes cozy. Okay. The reason is because you are dealing with fellow hardcores. You are dealing with people, who are very tenacious in what they do, and therefore, you feel comfortable in discussing matters. You may agree to disagree. At the end of the day, like our leader will say, the superior argument will override. Even at the point of having issues that are quite very pivotal, what you do is to make your own contribution and listen to others. And at the end of the day, we come up with a superior argument. And these are grown-ups, these are hardcores, these are people that rub the same shoulders and mind with you and understand. These are people, when you wink your eyes, they understand what you mean. And when you throw your dice, they know which part of the dice is going to turn over. And therefore, you can only call it cozy and friendship and very, 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 comfortable. And you would like to be around a person like Mazi. Chikedoziem is such a wonderful human being. If you don't know Chikedoziem, it's a pity when people don't know who he is. This is a man full of love. When you want to know what love means, this is a man full of love. His love for Biafra is not just only for Biafra, but also for humanity. You need to know who he is. He's also a man of justice. A man of justice. Mazi Chikedoziem will not tolerate where people are being denied justice. He will not tolerate where the truth is not being, hooked onto, but the other way around. No. Mazi Chikedoziem is somebody you can rely upon. He's somebody who will feed others even from his own pocket. I've seen it happening. He's not a gainsay. I've seen it happening like some of us will do. We have Biafrans who will call about the difficulties. If we have, we extend to them. And Mazi Chikedoziem does it all the time from his own pocket. Not minding what he contributes on monthly basis as monthly dues, not minding what he contributes as his legal other levies and all that. People will still call individually because they look up to you not only as a leader but as a supporter. Okay, that's what some people don't know. When people call us for some needs, we do respond, kindly as much as we can, and it continues to be so. So the relationship has been very, very, very more than cordial, even much elevated to brotherhood and with full understanding with each other. And like I said, when your brother gives you a wink of the eye, you know what he means. That's how far the whole thing has gone. We have developed this very brotherhood as such that you hardly can compare that to your own brother under the same father, the same mother. In this very, very circle, we have developed much more closer relationship than the relationship you have with your own sibling. It's even as deep as that.
Before we go on break, I want to explain this for your information. When Mazi Nzurumike said his relationship with the VOS, and HOD is cozy. Cozy, he has explained it in details. It means comfort, warmth, and relaxation. English is not our first language. So that is what it is. Do not forget that we are on Tough Talk today, being the 11th day of February in the year of our Lord 2022. We shall go on a few minutes break, and when we come back, we continue from where we stop. Please don't go away.
Anybody from DOS, you will be removed tonight, you will be unsanctioned. Before we remove you without knowing where you are. This time around, we will catch you before we remove you. Anything DOS says is what goes. Nzurumike is heading our reconciliation committee. If he calls you on the phone, you must listen to him and do as he says. He is our deputy head of Directorate of State, led by Mazi Chikedoziem. They are the highest decision-making body in IPOB. If that thing is difficult, then now refer it to me. Do you understand? Anything they if they call you on the phone, you don't return their call, or you're doing strong head, and we then believe that the zoo has brought you over and you'll be dealt with. We run a discipline movement more than anything. We value discipline more than anything else in the world. In IPO, that's the only thing we have. We are able to defeat the zoo and destroy the zoo is hinged on one thing, and that is discipline. If you know you cannot work for IPO, you get out and join the saddle. One day your judgment will come. We'll find out those hiding in Kokoni, those are hiding somewhere near Apito, near Swamp, in the River State in front of you. They go not to know the water. I say River State because
onye Igbo ọbụla si n'ife ọchọ bụ isi Naịjirịa na 2023 abụghị onye Igbo ọ bụghị onye Igbo because ọma na emenye onye isi Naịjirịa ọ ite ọ dara ya ka ọ ga-eme first o mere ya achọ anya impeach you probably 1 month. Omana no one ike inye ndị Igbo aka ga-abụ the usoro constitution. Ọ tụrụ anyị anya atụ anya onye ọbụla ma na enweghị ife a ga-ejete na Nigeria ma esogbu usoro constitution. Quota system.
You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London. You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London.
Welcome back. This is Tough Talk on Radio Biafra London. Today being the 11th day of February in the year of our Lord 2022. We are here live and direct on this program, Tough Talk, where we ask questions without mincing words. And today our guest is the Deputy Head of the Directorate of States of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Mazi Ogochukwu Nzurumike, if I'm not mistaken. Ogochukwu Nzurumike. I hope I'm right, Mazi.
Mazi, strike it out. Mazi Chukwuemeka Nzurumike.
Chukwuemeka Nzurumike, I'm sorry. Yes. We used to get out.
Yes, Ogechukwu is a given name. It's a given name for my parents, for my given names, yes.
Thank you very much for correcting me. Chukwuemeka Nzurumike. Today being the 11th day of February 2022, we are live and direct here on Radio Biafra London. Tough Talk. Mazi, we must move on, please. You know, I want to ask you this question because you hardly come out to speak in the public. Are you media shy? What is the problem? Why you don't come out, or you hardly come out to speak in the public? Not that you don't know how to speak, you don't know how to talk. Why? Please explain to the audience.
I may agree and also disagree with you. I've been out there a couple of times. Probably the only difference is not frequent. If not frequently, if you say not frequently, that's okay. That is acceptable. And that is owed to the fact that sometimes things to be spoken are spoken by others. We know when our members of DOS are heading out, to the radio to speak, and most of the time the things you are going to talk about are known to us, and then you wouldn't want to probably go and duplicate what is being spoken about. Nevertheless, it's not an excuse. One can also, beside that, simply come on air to address Biafrans, which I love doing all the time, of course. I've done a couple of times in the past. I can only say I love, interacting with fellow Biafrans all the time, and getting involved in knowing what their passion, what their anxieties are, and where we can do better, where things can be done better for them. Well, I am not actually media shy. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. What will you say about some people, mostly in Europe and America, trying to cause disenchantment against the leadership of IPOB, as we are seeing today? You know, you have gone through that before, earlier on, but I want you to just expatiate it a bit about what is going on now. Some people, mostly in Europe and America, that is trying to cause disenchantment against the leadership of IPOB. Please go on.
Well, Mazi, when I call it, not my problem are not the pyromaniacs and the maniacs. They are not my issues. They will always come. The maniacs will come. They will like to slice and dice, and the problem we have this time around that we have people who are on contract. That is the difference. We have experienced those people like Chukwuemeka, whose only target was probably some words and some probably he had the power already in terms of the structure. He was looking for something more. And then we had our sister then, Mazi or something like that, from the Norwegian region and all that, from Scandinavia somewhere. We had all these hiccups. They always come. Yes, like I said, it's a struggle. If it were to be easy, it would not be called a struggle. If it is going to be resistance free, it will not be called a struggle. It is called a struggle because you will always come out to face turbulence, and turbulence will always be there. Whether it's coming from the zoo authority, whether it's coming from external forces, whether it's coming from within. And very unfortunately, some scrupulous elements, pyromaniacs, have been used to actually deliver the goods of the zoo. When Lai Mohammed was warning, was not only warning, was making it public. They were not mincing words. They were saying they were going to introduce about $80 billion or something like that, naira or something like that. A very huge amount of money was mentioned to only attack IPOB. We only knew them attacking the radio Biafra, trying to, subject it to silence and all that, and they didn't succeed. Our leader, worked hard towards that. We also saw, challenges that came in the past. Like I said, we have the likes of also Mazi, Chukwuemeka, and his colleagues who also thought it was time to hijack. So their own was also not, for us, it wasn't an idea that the external forces were behind them. It was out of their own wants. They wanted to, to be in the Kano, okay? But this is a different ballgame. We have a situation where something is persistent. Even when people have turned residents, expelled, and no longer belong here, they are still there, not only claiming they still belong, but are still using the name of the different people of Biafra to bamboozle folks, organizing fundraising, making money for themselves, money that no genuine ESN member sees. No genuine ESN, or volunteer individuals could even boast of having seen. And you ask yourself, what are the monies that they are raising? They have been raised. Let's share among themselves and look for some, hungry brothers back home and fund them to go and cause some problems, and that has to stop. Yeah, that has to stop, Mazi. It is unfortunate, like as I said, and my problem is having gullibles, whites, full of astigmatism and not understanding what is going on, and that is very, very unfortunate, and that is why we have our hard work. But notwithstanding, we also have among those who are attacking the leadership are not genuinely Biafrans. You have Fulanis and hiding behind Igbo names. It's very easy. Go to Facebook, open your Facebook page with a fake name. You can answer Musa tomorrow. Or Musa can answer Musa tomorrow. It doesn't matter. You can just, quite unfortunate. Facebook, you open your page without any verified identification. That's the problem with Facebook. So you have a number of people answering the names, but they're not Igbos. Some of them are answering Biafran names like from Akwa Ibom or like Cross River State or like people from Ijoland, and they are not Ijo people. They are not even in any part of Biafran land, but are coming from somewhere. Because they have been sponsored. We have a lot of Alamajiris sitting on, they have been provided with the computer, they are writing there. We support this person, they know that it's only cutting deep into the structure. That's what it is. But one thing we are showing them is whatever Chukwuemeka put together, nobody can destroy. No human being made of carbon as element, anybody who understands what it is, can destroy the very structure. They can do whatever they like, they will be tired. At the end of the day, they will go out and answer whatever nomenclature they give themselves. But we are here as indigenous people of Biafra, under the leadership of Mazi, whether they like it or not. This very, very, very movement, this very, very, very body has a very strong lattice. If you don't want to belong to this very strong lattice, you fall apart. And it's unfortunate, yes, the attacks that are coming out from there. We know the gravity of the destruction is enormous. We know, and like I said, that is where we have the perturbance. We will continue to unwind, to solidify our grounds and our jurisdictions wherever we are. The enemies will continue to try, but I tell you, we will continue to move on. Mazi.
Thank you, Mazi. Let me go on to another question. What is the effort of the office of the deputy head of the directorates in ensuring the release of Onyendo Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? What is the effort of your portfolio, please?
Yes, we do. First of all, we have been working collectively. I must not shy away from saying that, and I will also make bold to say that we have division of labor in this very, very effort. I have to do with representations where I'm asked to represent in this very effort to make sure that our leader is released. There are certain jobs that are given to us and divided and subdivided among the principal officers. This is a collective effort. No one individual is doing it on his own alone. We are all on board together, ensuring that collectively we are able to dismantle this very peculiar task of releasing our leader unconditionally, because this man has done nothing. The enemies holding him are holding him for no good reason. That's why you see them circumlocuting the whole time, and will never want to stop. But we're going to force them to accept the truth and accept the reality that our leader, a very peaceful man, leading a very peaceful movement of this very nature, of this very magnitude, must be released unconditionally because he committed no crime whatsoever, must be released. And then that's our message, Mazi, and that is what I do. Like I said, everybody does what he does, and we put all heads together. My personal one is, like I said, do what is I've been assigned to do. Whatever I'm assigned to do, is what I do. Some of them representation, some of them, coordinations of certain things, and then at the end of the day, including that of the legal activities as well. So when some people come out to call themselves head of legal, I don't understand them. The legal head was placed on my table by Mazi and when people talk about they being the head of legal, I don't understand what they're talking about. So in IPOB, we have different departments. We have people who are doing what they do because they are asked to do and they have been assigned to do. So that's what I do. We coordinate our legal department. We coordinate all the necessary contacts that need to be coordinated, and to make sure that at the end of the day, the result is summed up to be called victory. Thank you.
That makes me or puts me into the following question that I'm about to ask you. What do you say about the extraordinary rendition of our leader Mazi and his court appearance in the Nigerian court? What do you say about it, the extraordinary rendition of our leader Mazi
Mazi, there is nothing so not just awful, there's nothing so barbaric and devastating, that will be the word, than picking up an innocent man, a child of God, seizing him, kidnapping him, against international law, by the way. In every ramification you look at it, our leader was, actually a victim of the actions of the enemies. And how am I going to look at it, Mazi? We will continue to, we are facing the reality, that's the truth. What we need to do is to continue to work hard and to unwind what the zoo have been planning to do. And that is to maintain a perpetuity of keeping our leader in their custody. And that has to be unwind. They have to understand that our leader must be released. So when it comes to court case, you see the role they play. Adjournment without number. And we'll continue to do what we need to do, because at the end of the day, it's not about physical fight. It's not about physical fight. The zoo wants us to believe that we need to face them physically, because they think all the money they have borrowed from China in acquiring weaponry and weapons, they've got enough to probably destroy lives and property. But we, with what we have, with little energy and the common sense given to us by Chukwuemeka, we are on the path of trying to ask them or force them to do the right thing through the right means. We are very peaceful people. Indigenous people of Biafra has always embarked upon peaceful operations, coordinations, meeting people that matter, whether it's United Nations, whether it's in parliaments of different parts of the world. So if we were to be terrorists, like they say, these parliaments with superior satellites, with superior intelligence, they rejected us in their countries. But nope, they recognize us, their MPs, their representatives talk about us in their parliament, because they know the people they're talking about. They are not talking about anybody that is violent. They are talking about people who are peaceful. They are talking about people who have been tested in their countries for quite over about 10 years now. And so they can differentiate between terrorists and non-terrorists. So we have, we're backing upon this very diplomacy, energy of diplomacy, and of course, the local energy in trying to make sure that our leader is out of the dungeon. We'll continue to do what we need to do, and not, falling into the gallery projected by the zoo out there. They're not going to bring out their tanks and we'll bring out our tanks. That's not where we are today. We are fighting them the way we're supposed to fight them. to make sure that legally everything is done to ensure that our leader is released. And that's what we do. They believe in violence, we don't believe in violence. As simple as that. Thank you, Mazi.
How do you see the overall situation of IPOB worldwide, please?
Yes, Mazi, to be quite honest with you, the situation is, I will not say is palatable. It's a struggle. There will always be tension. There will always be hypes. There will always be high and lows. So we will continue to manage our situation. We'll continue to improve on what we have. We will continue to stabilize. We'll continue to consolidate within our capacity and ensure that all those. But what matters is not multitude, Mazi. What matters is what our leader used to say. He said he wanted 100 men. When he said 100 men, he didn't mean 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 up to 100. That word 100 meant fewer, let me say, as much as hardcores are out there. That's what our leader meant. As much as hardcores are out there, that is the meaning of 100 men. So, and you know that you're not going to have a lot of hardcores. You're going to have a flavors as the multitude. The majority are going to be. You are going to have people who don't believe in it. You are going to have people who are praising your enemies. You are going to have people who will be willing tools for the enemies, like hopeless souls or danger. For example, or the one they call Omai. You are having these people, trying to appease the enemies. But at the end of the day, the hardcores are not that much. That is why you had only hardcores who were able to get the freedom of Israel. The people who were able to get the freedom of East Timor. The people who were able to get the freedom of all the countries, wherever they are, whether it's in Eritrea or wherever they are, they always comprised of very few, the hardcores. So the hardcores, as many as you have them, is what our leader meant, 100 men. And that's what we pursue, and that's what we believe in, and that's what we're begging upon. Right now, we're looking for the hardcores. If you are not a hardcore, you are there to cause disparaging, to attack and to destroy and to slice and dice. Your way is out. Your way is out. We are not going to tolerate anybody whatsoever, no matter how you want to look at it, who will be only there to constitute a nuisance and destroy this very struggle put together by Chukwuemeka. Via Mazi, we are not going to tolerate it. Our job is to make sure that there is sanity. Our job is to make sure there's discipline all over. Our job is to make sure that the families are intact and put together. Those who don't want to belong to it, it's not by force. You may answer your whatever you call yourself. Go and answer any nomenclature you like. We have been having a lot of nomenclature in this very effort in trying to get freedom for Biafra. A lot of them, some of them are called Maso, some of them are called different names. You can also decide to call your own something else. That's fine. But don't be in our midst and cause nuisance and cause distraction. That's not what we're looking for. So people should be very warned as we move ahead. We are not going to spare any element that is out there only to cause destruction and cause incendiary. In this very family, that will not be tolerated. If you want to belong to this very movement headed by Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, as you have always known it, then please be part of it in truth and honesty and with all passion and loyalty. And that is what is asked of everybody, including myself, in this very effort. Mazi, thank you very much.
In this case, right now, I will like you to use few minutes to address the indigenous people of Biafra family worldwide now as the deputy heads of the Directorate of State, deputy head of the Directorate. Please, it is now. Use few minutes to address IPOB worldwide.
Yes, all right. Mazi, thank you so much. And let me, at this juncture, turn to Biafrans and say once again, thank you for listenership. I am once again Mazi Chukwuemeka Nzurumike. I happen to be serving your people our people in the capacity of Deputy Head of Directorate of State, working and doing the job of Chukwuemeka as assigned down through the leadership, apex leadership, Mazi down to all of us. Our job is to make sure that Biafra comes. Fellow Biafrans, I thank God for your lives. I thank God for your families. I thank God for those of you who are working hard tirelessly. Those of you who have embraced perseverance. Those of you who have embraced in hope and understanding there's nothing false about hope. Thank you so much for your cooperation. Indeed, that's very important. That when the leadership have spoken out and given out directives that you have always followed because you believe in Onye Mazi first and foremost, and therefore believing in his very, very lattice structure. I thank those of you who are women doing your businesses in Biafra land, feeding your families, are trying to go into farmlands to embark upon agricultural efforts to feed your families. Thank you, such very family women. You are so wonderful. I thank those of you who are men working hard assiduously every day to feed your family, feed Biafrans as much as you can and live your own better life, going about your own business. I thank those of you who are traders and working very hard and doing what you're doing and being cooperative when you are asked upon to be cooperative. Those of you who are in the section of transportation, you are also recognized. Keep on doing what you're doing. Assuming Biafra is achieved so soon, your road will be made of very, very solid concrete. That you ply the road without your vehicle breaking down every now and then, and that is why we're looking for Biafra. And I ask you, all of you, even at this moment that looks very, very thorny and very, very turbulent, that you remain focused. Being focused is what is being asked for, and being focused is discipline, and being focused gives you a glimpse of hope. I ask all of you to remain cooperative, be your brother's keeper. Avoid putting your brother in danger. The leadership wants to see that we all are brother's keeper. No matter what our differences may be, we all believe and anchor our ideology in what we know as having learned from our leader Mazi Kanu. Our ideological, philosophical ideology, our ideology, the way we have known it should be consistent. And then our philosophy as well should be consistent. And that is what I'm asking you to embark upon. Embark upon philosophical consistency and ideological consistency. Now that's what we have learned from our leader, because it helps us a lot. When you believe in something and say you believe in Biafra and the way to get about it, you have learned the way to get about it, then maintain it. Maintain it and remain and stick your ground. Do not be wavering, do not be shaking at all time. When the waves come, you begin to shake. Oh, they said this one, and begin to listen. Gossip. Don't join the gossip group. Do not listen to gossip. Listen to Radio Biafra for every information that you need that will be quite needed for your clarifications. You get it in under the Radio Biafra, you get it on the page of Radio Biafra, you get it by listening and tuning to Radio Biafra at all times and at all places without any prevarication or any doubts at all in you. Because anything our leader has put in place and put out there is something you can hold on to. He has been tested, he has gone to jail for you, he has gone to jail uncountable times for all of us, and he is still suffering today in what he believes in. If this man had believed in his own self, if in terms of selfishness, if he has believed in his own empire in terms of selfishness, today he won't be where he's suffering today. He has suffered it before and he is there today suffering again. It's because of all of us, it's because of our future generation and unborn generation. It's because of your well-being, it's because of your better life and the betterment of our very society called Biafra. And therefore, please, once again, I can only, encourage you to remain very, very solid and all the time believing in this very Biafra. Do not be discouraged, do not be distracted, because the zoo has come out to distract all of us. They have come out with every manner of weaponry. They have come out to dissuade, they have come out with discords, they have come out with charlatans, they have come out with people to come and try to dismantle this very effort, but we are not going to allow them, because all of you who have suffered since 2011, 2012 till today, your labor should not be in vain. Those who have died, their labor should not be in vain. Their effort, the ultimate price they paid should not be in vain. You always know who they are. Some of them were members in your zones. Some of them were members in your local government. Some of them were members in your unit. Some of them were members of your states. And some of them, you know them personally, and they have fallen. They have fallen not because of fun of it. They fell because they want their freedom, the freedom of themselves and the freedom of all of you who are living and all of us who are living, and the freedom of the future generations. And because of their efforts, those who have paid very dearly, we are only going to maintain the status quo that says no retreat, no surrender. We must continue, and we must make sure that we eschew evil. We must extricate ourselves from every manner of evil. That is very, very important. If your neighbor has offended you, do not take it too personal as to even involve bringing him to danger. It will bring you nothing. It will fetch you nothing. Everybody is going to die at the end of the day. But what does it now fetch you if all your ultimate goal is to destroy the future generation? Is our future under the leadership of the caliphate going to be what you expect us to have? Is our future under the caliphate? Think about it. Think about the situation where you have given your land, given everything, converted to more Islam, yet you are a second-class citizen. What is that going to bring you? Where you are to be subjected to not just second class, because after being subjected to every manner of subjugation at the end of the day, there are people who will take second class. Your own might be fourth class. Even after everything is given and given up, but that's only if we're still alive. These people want to wipe all of us off. Those of them killing us today are mainly uniformed Janjaweed, uniformed Boko Haram in uniform. They are all there killing our people. Then we have those among us who call themselves governors, who are there only for their own interest, sending these very, 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 very wicked jihadists to kill our people, thinking after that they'll become president, they'll become vice president. What a pity. They will become nothing. Our message to them is very, very clear. They will become nothing. The earlier they understand that, the better. What will it benefit you to subject your own people to destruction just because you are dreaming of becoming a president that you will never be? How do you come about that? Where is your brain? Where is your brain? Well, our leader used to say some of them were, conceived by the Fulani blood, and that is the truth. Because no normal Biafran, born of Biafran blood, would be doing what hopeless Uzodinjo is doing, or what Omahi is doing, or to extension, what the governor of Anambra was doing all the time. So most of the, including weekend, you have thousands of blood in your hands. I said thousands of blood. We are counting them. You are an Igbo man and you say you are not Igbo just because you want to appease the caliphate, and they are laughing at you. They are laughing. They are in Daura looking at you and laughing at you. They call you Nyamare, and you think by saying you are not Igbo man, you put you change some letters in your name and all that. and then that will convince any of them that you're not an Igbo man. You are killing people in Obi. And you are calling them Igbo, but there is bring your DNA, bring your DNA and compare it to anybody you have killed in Obi, and see and compare and know you that you are killing your own people, and you are aware of that. It is called wickedness. It is called sheer wickedness. But at the end of the day, everybody's going to die anyway. None of you governors are going to live a life. In fact, they are not going to live so long like Methuselah. No. I think at your ages right now, and you, with your wealth, you are not going to live more than the next 50 years, isn't it? You are not going to live more than the next probably 30 years, isn't it? So why are you doing all you are doing? Does it make sense to you? One thing is, we are counting on Biafrans. In truth and honesty, our Biafrans understand the key. That's why they follow Onyendu Mazi. The man that comes out, when he speaks, he's speaking about the truth. When he speaks, he's speaking about the word of Chukwuemeka. The way forward is to cherish our land, safeguard our land, protect our land, jealously protect our land, by the way. And that's what, no matter what it takes, our land must be protected, and that's what we are doing. We encourage our women to stay away from India in our land. No matter how hungry you are, no matter how much they offer you, do not follow, do not get close to Fulani people, and that's what they want to do. They want to populate our land with their Fulani blood. They want to convert everybody to Islam. If you don't know what is happening, go and research, go and check the 1999 Abuja conference. Go and check on it and get your information. What they have planned for you and I is complete obliteration, complete wiping us out and taking our land. Otherwise, nobody will think of bringing his own fellow Fulanis where they are already stationed, where they are already inhabited, where they are already living, where they have their abode, import them to our land to take over our land. You are doing so because you want to take over our land, nothing more than that. Otherwise, they have where they are living in Central African Republic, in Mali, in Niger Republic, wherever they are, in Senegal and in Guinea, wherever they find themselves, they have their place. Why are you bringing them to our land to come and take over? So the danger is there. We live in a perilous times, and at this juncture, Biafrans, we must remain vigilant. Complacency is too dangerous. Complacency is very, very, very dangerous, and that is what is causing the problem we have today. But most importantly, those of you who are involved in violence against your fellow brothers, you must stop doing so. You must stop pointing fingers at your brothers to be killed. Stop telling the enemies who are your brothers working assiduously for the very, very struggle, and therefore put them in further danger. These are people who are working assiduously to serve your own interest, and what you do is to bring them destruction, and that has to stop now or now. Thank you at this juncture, and Mazi Jonathan, I thank Biafrans for their listenership, and I will always try to come back on air once again as soon as possible. And at this juncture, I'll yield back to respect your next question. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mazi. I thought you want to conclude where I have not concluded. Now, this time around, I'm going to go into, we are inching closer towards ending this program. But before I leave you, I will go to your private life, please. Do you love sports? You know, because Biafrans will like to hear or know many things about those that are leading them. That is why. So you are in the public eye. Do you love sports, please?
Yes, Mazi, sports.
What is your favorite sports?
Well, there are a number of them. Favorite, I will go for badminton because that's what I do most times in summer. I will go for badminton. I've been a very lover of soccer as well. I play soccer, and then but I also play badminton most of the time during summertime. So I will go for badminton for now.
My goodness me, badminton.
Badminton, volleyball, yeah, I love it.
Very good. Okay. Do you speak any other foreign language apart from English?
Mazi, yes, I do. I speak, of course, my country of abode, as we speak right now, where I am, inhabited, is Germany, and of course, I speak Dutch, and I speak also an African language, a language from Ghana called Twi, but the aspect of Twi is called Fanti. I speak Fanti, and I also speak Russian, Mazi.
My goodness me. Can you, just in few words, use the one you cherish most in order to address our listeners? Just in few words, please.
Well, the one I use quite frequent is German, of course.
Go on, please. Because I think as well there are Germans that are listening. So,
yeah.
Please go.
Ja, und dann mache ich sofort. Einen wunderschönen Abend, großartige Zuschauer und Freunde. Ich begrüße Sie heute Abend bei uns auf Radio Biafra und bitte Sie auch natürlich, sich immer einzuschalten. Um die biafranische Freiheit der Meinung natürlich zu unterstützen, das wäre sehr, sehr gut. Ich bitte Sie aus ganzem Herzen und ich würde sagen, vielen Dank und bleiben Sie dabei. So.
Thank you. Mazi, I want to ask you this, maybe very interesting, but it can be an odd question. What is the difference between German and Dutch?
If you mean Dutch, D-U-T...
not the other Dutchland, that is German.
Yeah, the other Dutch is Netherlands.
Yes.
Okay, they speak a language called Dutch. But the Deutsch, the other one is called Deutsch. Deutsch is different from Dutch, right? So Deutsch is the German language because it's a language of Deutschland, the land of Deutsch people. In Biafra land, for example, if our land is called Biafra land, and we have a common language, we're going to call it. It's going to be called maybe like in a similar understanding is going to be like calling it Biafra. We're removing the land, so it's like calling it Biafra without the land. So they're only Deutschland. Deutschland makes up the land. If our country were to be called not Biafra but Biafra land, and we had a common language, that language is like being called Biafra, just Biafra. So somebody is speaking Biafra, that's what it means. So in Deutschland, somebody is speaking Deutsch. And Dutch is the language of Deutschland.
That's what I mean. What is?
Yes.
Do you have similarities between Deutschland, that is German language, and the Netherlands language?
Well, there are very scanty similarities. That of Holland is a mixture of German and English, that's how come into it. A mixture of German and English gives you what you call their own Dutch. And there's a place they call language they call Flemish. Flemish is mixed up with, it's similar to that as well. Flemish is spoken somewhere, I think, in Belgium. Somewhere in Belgium they speak Flemish. So people who speak Flemish usually understand Dutch, and they also understand Dutch of Netherlands. So you have people who understand both languages when they are speakers of Flemish, for example. So there are similarities, yes, but very, very distinct.
Now I will like you. I don't know whether you have belonged to a choir before, but nonetheless, let me put you to the spot. I will love you to sing to the audience the first stanza of the Biafran anthem, please.
Oh, okay, Mazi. Well, that's not a difficult task, I think. Though I'm not a singer, and my voice might not cooperate. Well, let me try. I sing it all the time when my anthem is playing, so it's not strange to me. Land of the rising sun, we love and cherish. Beloved homeland of our great heroes, we must defend our lives or we shall perish. We must protect our lives from our food. Mazi, I have a blackout.
No, no. It's okay. It's coming out.
It's coming out, right?
Yes, it's coming out. Don't worry.
Then I'll take it again. I thought it was season here.
No, it's not season. It's coming out.
Okay. Land of the rising sun, we love and cherish. Beloved homeland of our baby heroes, we must defend our lives or we shall perish. We shall protect our lives from our foes. What if that? Mazi, help me out there.
Okay. Let us cut it like this, We must continue. We have spoken foreign language and spoken white man language. And some people are reminding me in your pattern shot, please remind us your place of origin in Biafra land, because people are reminding me, impossible me that you didn't say it. And also in your few minutes pattern shot, I will love you to speak in your own dialect. First of all, where you come from in Biafra land, and use your dialect. We have a different Igbo dialects. So use your dialect to give us your pattern shot. Please, go on. Mazi, can you hear me? You mute your mic, please. What is happening? We must continue because we have spoken. He has spoken in many languages, but we would like him to speak in his own dialect, Igbo dialect. Anywhere he come from, let him speak in that dialect as a pattern shot. Just under a few minutes. Do not go away.
You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London. You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London. You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London.
Yes, please. I don't know. I know that you were maybe. I know. I understand. So please.
My system has a problem.
Is it okay? You were muting yourself. I saw it. So I thought that we are on call, very important call, something like that. So as I was saying, many people are reminding me, inboxing me that you forgot to talk about your place of origin in Biafra land, and I will love you to use your own dialect. Tell us your place of origin in Biafra land, and use your own Igbo dialect from your community in order to give us the pattern shot. Just in 2 minutes, please go on.
Sorry for that bit of technical communication I was having through my system. Mazi, are you hearing me now? Once again,
the whole world is hearing you, please.
Oh, okay. What do you, well, your question is for me to.
I said
to
your
speak my
place of
test.
origin. People inbox me to tell me to ask you what is your place of origin. You didn't tell us.
People,
And
if those people are Biafrans, it is welcome. If they are the enemies, it is also welcome.
yeah, and you are passing shots using your own Igbo
That's
dialect.
right. I get you. I get you. If only they can understand me. I heard from a word, Mazi, and yes. What do you want me to say?
Your pattern shot. Just tell people are listening to you from wherever, from everywhere.
Yeah.
Use your dialect in order to give us full statements.
Yeah. Anyị nọ ọgbakọ redio Biafra agba ego bụ na-achọkwa na ichie na ike ịgba mbọ kwụchie anyị nwara onwe anyị nwara ha bụ nwere onwe anyị onye ọla gba mbọ nele anya ihe ndị uwe omega onye ọla hụchie anyị nwana anyị chọrọ onye eledara anya ibe ya onye ọla nyere ibe ya aka ụkwanechi anyị nwa na obodo anyị anyị chọrọ ndị ụlọ agbala anyị gburugburu ka ahụ ka ewezi okwu ee maachịkwanụ n'agbanyeghị ụcha ndị ụlọ gbara anyị gburugburu anyị jikọ n'aka hụchie anyị nwa na anyị chọrọ ele ha anya n'azụ onye ọbụla jiriga uche ya n'ime ha imega ekelela m shụnọ jisie ike ka ha nchọga ịgakwana ya nwe ya gajiela m
ndewo Mazi.
My national anthem must be fulfilled. I was struggling with it because to be honest with you, at the time I had a blackout because of distraction that came my system on the other side.
Yes.
So that really affected. I wanted to sing something good, but that affected my procedure. So go ahead, Maz. I don't know if you have another question, and the anthem I will sing it later.
This, unless you want to re-sing the national anthem, because this is where we are calling it a quit today. Yes.
Are we going to have some questions, Mazi, from the public, or
No. This is just direct questions from me. So you have to re-sing the national anthem because of these disturbances, please.
Okay. Land of the rising sun, we love and cherish. Beloved home, land of our great heroes, we must defend our lives or we shall perish. We shall protect our lives from our foes. But if the price is death for all people here, then let us die without a shred of fear.
Thank you very much. No, first stanza is okay. It's okay.
I can sing both, but the first one is all right.
Yes, it's right? Okay. It's okay. Thank you very much, Mazi Ugochukwu Nzurumike.
Mazi, remove Ugochukwu from your mind.
Chukwuemeka Nzurumike. Sorry.
Wonderful, Mazi.
I have a cousin known as Ugochukwu, so every time it's in my mouth.
I have to become your cousin tonight. And like I said before, you see, most of us we are closer to each other in this very struggle. more than those that share the same very 100% DNA from our same siblings and all that.
Of course.
Because we are always interacting with each other, because we are always pondering over matters and rubbing shoulders with each other, and 247 we're in touch with each other. So that brings us much closer and closer than those we claim to be our siblings. You understand? So I know when you say, call me like your cousin, that brings me to the position of your cousin. That brings me closer. That's what it means. But anyway, I'm very, very grateful to Biafrans, Mazi, for their listenership. Biafrans are wonderful people, especially those of them working hard. In fact, I cannot close this very participation at this juncture without remembering the efforts of very, very hardcore principal servants all over the world, the continental reps, the national coordinators, those of them who are working assiduously. I'm very, very loyal to the leadership under the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, and also the zonal coordinators, the unit coordinators, the local government. All of you are wonderful people, provided you remain very, very, very consistent and continue this path to getting Biafra. And those of you media warriors, Biafra Child, the AFA, and all of you, you are doing very wonderful. SAG, I think someone like that in UK, I think he is also doing very wonderful.
There's something I want to say here. I want to interrupt you. There's one thing just like I noticed personally. Do you know that if not all the people that we are doing very well, that our leader Mazi Nnamdi Kanu praised here on Radio Biafra, almost all of them, if not all of them, has fallen to the other side. That is why I deem it very dangerous to praise anybody. I'm telling you honestly.
It is true. I agree with you.
I listened to that particular broadcast, and the names he mentioned, I count them one after the other, and I know all of them are on the other side now. I'm telling you, I say, my goodness,
very unfortunate,
very unfortunate. So there are demons that follow. That pursue anybody. I'm telling you honestly, that is why I hate praises here on air. There are demons that follow any person that is mentioned here that is doing very well. It will attract attack.
I agree with you. But our leader said, don't allow weapons to buy in here. That is my question. Will just jump in and
that's why, if you may, please, I advise, please don't mention their names here on air, please. Let them continue doing. When we let ourselves in the back is when Biafra is restored.
Yes. In fact, everybody that is doing what he's doing, they are all recognized. I'm not such a person that will not recognize efforts of people if they're doing the right thing. I will say they're doing the right thing. Those of them doing the right thing. Those of them who are not doing the right thing, they should go and re-advise themselves and try to be on the right track, because Biafra is a moving locomotive. You can never stop it. It is heading towards where it's heading to the right direction and to the right destination. And at the end of the tunnel, there will be light, and that light is Biafra. Mazi, I want to say that we remain very, very solidly behind this very project, this very effort, and we will continue to do so until Biafra comes. There's nothing like living or life, anything of that nature without Biafra. Biafra remains our life, remains our future, remains everything we can think of, remains our dream. Because with Biafra, your life is back. The life you have never even experienced since you were born, you will now experience it. For the first time, those of you who are born in lack of electricity, you begin to see light. Continuous light. That's what Biafra stands for. For the first time, you will not buy pure water. You will have very, very clear, clean, solid water that you will drink for a good health, and you without paying anything or much for it. For the first time, you can work and you'll be paid, according to the work you've delivered, and you have your salary paid, and you'll be able to feed your family. You'll be able to purchase a fairly used car within few months of your job. That is what Biafra is talking about. That's what Biafra is standing for, and that's what Biafra projects, and that is what it showcases. So when we talk about this thing, we are talking about something we know we can do. The potentials are out there. Many of us can tomorrow, once Biafra comes, we'll begin to, we don't need to import anything. I'm telling you, we're not going to import. We hardly will import anything. The manpower we have there and human potentials are extraordinary as much as you can think of. They are extraordinary. I'm telling you, the human manpower and our potentials. We can manufacture from nothing, something from nothing. But everything, the raw materials are there. Not everything will go to Igbo land to look for help. No, we are going to do it. And that is what the enemy doesn't want. Enemies both home and abroad, both international and beyond, don't want it, including the Satan himself. But one message for them is we shall overcome. This very generation, this very movement, this very family called indigenous people of Biafra, under the leadership of Mazi and no other, is going to conquer, is going to dismantle, is going to unravel, and at the end of the day, unraveling the enemy, and at the end of the day, achieve what we want to achieve. And that is that Biafra. We are going to dismantle our enemies, not they dismantling us. No, they can't. They have not been born. We are going to defeat every and crush all our enemies as much as we are determined to do. We do it peacefully, but we are at the end of the day going to overcome. That's one thing we can assure them. We are going to overcome. Mazi, the message to our people is very clear. They should remain focused. The problem we have is people not remaining focused. Remain focused and everything will be all right with it. Thank you very much for your listenership, Biafrans worldwide, especially those of you in Biafra land. I know what you're going through. Don't be afraid, but remain vigilant and be on alert. And don't forget to be your brother's keeper. Thank you, Mazi, Jonathan. Thank you for having me. And at this juncture, I pray my strength in the Lord.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You are listening to Talk on Radio Biafra London.
Listeners all over the world, you have listened to the voice of our Deputy Head of the Directorate of States of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Mazi Chukwuemeka Nzurumike. Many of us might not have known him or heard about his speeches, but here you are. You've heard him. When they say that Biafrans, we are miscreants, you have heard one of the miscreants. A molecular biologist by profession, scientist, speaking to us. We continue any other time in this program. Tough Talk is a new program. We'll be bringing people and asking them pertinent questions from time to time, because in the next 3 days on the 14th, the leader of the Amazonians will also be in this platform in order to answer fiery questions, please. And you need to be educated when you listen to these people. Thank you very much for listening. And from me, from here, it is simply good evening.
Land of the shred of fear. Held to Biafra, consecrated nation.